Brad Garlinghouse said that RLUSD is likely only weeks away now, and in this video, I want to talk about why it actually matters to an XRP investor. There's been a lot of people saying that RLUSD is going to replace XRP for cross-border payments, that RLUSD makes XRP pretty much unimportant to the XRP ledger network. In this video, I want to break down not only why that is completely wrong, but why RLUSD could actually be a more important stablecoin than Circle's USDC. Guys, USDC is one of the most important cryptos in the market right now, and I believe RLUSD has a realistic chance of actually displacing Circle's stablecoin. In this video, we're going to talk about exactly why that's the case, so make sure to stick around for this whole thing. Like always, your support means so much to this channel. Thank you to everyone who takes the time to like these videos and subscribe to the channel. These two simple things really do help me out so much. Also, if you ever need a good place to buy some XRP, make sure to check out my favorite exchange, Uphold, down in the description of this video. With that said, let's jump right into it, and I hope you guys enjoy the content. So I want to start out this video and cover something that I believe is absolutely critical to talk about whenever you have the stablecoin discussion, and that is Tether. Over the long run, I think the real competition between institutional stablecoins is actually between Ripple and Circle. I don't think Tether is really going to be in the same conversation. And that's not because I believe Tether is going to magically implode on itself or something like that. While it might be possible, that's not the basis of this theory. I believe what Tether is doing is really facilitating a different business than Ripple and Circle. What Tether really wants to be is a retail stablecoin, something that is going to provide a dollar-denominated unit to people who don't have access to one, but not necessarily a stablecoin or a dollar-denominated unit that has the institutional regulatory compliance required to be working in the regulated financial system. If you listen to almost any major institution out there talk about Tether, they won't touch it. Now, that's not me saying anything against Tether. That's just me listening to institutions and saying they won't use Tether. So I think it's fairly obvious when it comes down to a regulated stablecoin and an unregulated stablecoin, there is a massive difference between something like a USDC, an RLUSD, and a Tether. I believe Tether is going to stick around for a very long time, and Tether is going to continue to be important. But when it comes down to whether or not we are talking about two of the same markets or two different markets, I think it's clearly two different markets. Like I said, you're going to have the institutional stablecoins, and you're going to have more of the retail stablecoins. And I believe there actually is a historical precedent for this. Typically, projects like Tether, you can kind of compare to the Napsters of the world. They were the early first movers who provided a lot of utility, but they might not be willing to do all the things that institutions require. And that doesn't mean that Tether needs to go away or disappear. It just means that when it comes down to what an Amazon might be using, an Uber might be using, it's probably not going to be Tether. So the real question is then, how does Circle's USDC coin compare to Ripple's RLUSD stablecoin? And there are some very key differences here that I want to cover. And we'll get more into the RLUSD versus XRP conversation at the end of the video, so make sure to stick around for that. But first, RLUSD versus Circle's USDC coin. Now, I think it's really interesting when you actually compare how these networks are built out, because Circle actually has a major disadvantage, and that's that they don't control the underlying blockchain for the USDC stablecoin. And that's that Circle doesn't really have a native blockchain. They kind of just go with whatever blockchain they believe USDC will be on. But in Ripple's case, they do have the XRP ledger, which is the tech stack they choose to build most of their products on. And that's also the main issuance point of RLUSD. Now, the reason this is such a big advantage is because Ripple is a major contributor to the source code for the XRP ledger. What does that mean? Well, it means Ripple's going to be able to build out code on the XRP ledger that is going to be beneficial to the success of RLUSD, or at least differentiate it to key features for USDC. What do I mean by that? Well, natively, a stablecoin is really just a dollar-denominated unit of value, right? It's just a stable form of currency. Obviously, that's important to any blockchain. So how does it differ when you compare two things like RLUSD or USDC? Well, some of the things that Ripple has been pushing to come to the XRP ledger involve things around compliance that USDC or Circle are not going to be able to implement because there is no native chain for that token. Take this for example, DID. Decentralized ID, I believe, is going to be one of the key things to get large institutions into the cryptocurrency market. It doesn't matter how bad you want to adopt cryptocurrency. If you're doing business with a terrorist and you can't prove it or you can't shut off that jurisdiction, that's a huge issue, and it's pretty much a no-go if you're a United States institution. Decentralized ID will allow institutions working on the XRP ledger to fully understand whether or not they are interacting with a sanctioned entity. This is absolutely fundamental to the success of these blockchains going forward. If they want institutional adoption, they need to comply with institutional rules. And things like decentralized ID are going to be critical there. What else is going to be critical? Things like clawbacks, being able to pull back funds. Right now, in Circle's case, they really just freeze the funds. The funds are just frozen. But you really need the ability to claw back those funds. If you fund a terrorist, you can't just freeze that money. You have to be able to pull it back. You have to be able to redeliver it to the person who sent that value to the terrorist. And you can't do that with USDC right now. Now, Ripple actually pushed to enable clawbacks on the XRP ledger, which are obviously going to be a key feature in actually letting institutions issue their own currency and interact with something like RLUSD. They'll know that if the money goes to the wrong place, they can claw it back. And even more on top of that, they should know, because of decentralized ID, the counterparty they're interacting with beforehand. These are all going to be things that are absolutely critical to institutional adoption that Circle's not going to have. And this was actually outlined in this report right here. Some of the biggest advantages that RLUSD is going to bring over something like USDC. So at a high level, what we're seeing is Ripple's RLUSD product is extremely differentiated from Circle's USDC product. And I actually think RLUSD is going to be a much more enticing opportunity for institutions. Another issue I see with Circle's coin is actually that there's a lot of different forms of that coin. You have it on Solana, you have it on Ethereum, you have it on all these different networks, and it kind of segregates the liquidity. You have liquidity on all these different chains, but in RLUSD's case, it's really only going to be initially on the XRP ledger and Ethereum. So I believe that can actually act to concentrate liquidity and bring a new opportunity to the XRP ledger blockchain for that dollar-denominated unit in a more regulated environment. And what we know is obviously Ripple already has the inroads to a lot of these major institutions. Now, with all that said, I want to address some of the drama around, will RLUSD replace something like XRP? What we just went over is that RLUSD is more of an institutional product. It's more of a product that is really made for these institutions who need that dollar-denominated unit. And it's really being structured in a way where it's differentiated from something like a Tether, in that it does have a lot of this compliance built around it. I believe this compliance is really going to differentiate RLUSD and make it a more attractive product for these institutions. But that is not the case with something like XRP. XRP is always going to be this decentralized neutral liquidity, this liquidity that no one can claw back, this liquidity that is not owned by anyone. These are completely different properties from RLUSD. RLUSD is going to be centralized. It's going to be a product that is owned by a single corporation. So there is really no way you can compare these two things. XRP, what makes it special is the fact that no one owns it. It's decentralized, it's neutral, and like I said, that can never be the case with RLUSD. The other thing that's so important to understand here is they have different mechanisms in the network as well. XRP is liquidity. XRP scales up because of its volatility. Need more liquidity for the network? XRP's price goes up. Therefore, XRP is really infinitely scalable liquidity. USD or RLUSD is completely different. It's just a transactional vehicle or a way to have a dollar-denominated unit. It always stays at one. It's really just to send someone one of something and for them to receive one of something without a risk of that one of something changing into 2 or 3 or 0.5 of something. It's a completely different product use case. And at the end of the day, I think they do work together. Where I think this goes over the long run is RLUSD is put in an automated market maker. And in that automated market maker, RLUSD is paired against XRP. That means the more institutions that actually enter the RLUSD ecosystem, the more institutions that are going to be locking that up in an automated market maker, provide liquidity for the network, and thus locking up XRP on the other side. This is directly how adoption of RLUSD actually increases the price of XRP over the long run. And I think what we're really going to see is institutions using both. They are going to be using RLUSD for their dollar-denominated payment flows, but that RLUSD is going to be quasi-using XRP on the back end to facilitate the transfers and to utilize the liquidity. This goes back to what XRP was meant to be. Not necessarily a payments token, but a liquidity token for the XRP ledger network. I believe RLUSD really solidifies XRP as that liquidity source for the network and allows institutions to come in an environment they feel comfortable with, in an environment they feel they can interact with in a regulatory compliant way, and still use XRP on the back end for its full intended purpose of liquidity. I don't believe institutions are going to have a big issue if XRP is just the liquidity in their underlying payments being done in the regulated vehicle. I think that's the way that actually makes the most sense. So in short, I believe RLUSD is going to be a highly differentiated product, and likely a differentiated product that errs on the side of being pro-institution. I believe it is very differentiated from XRP in that they have completely different pieces of utility for the XRP ledger network. And I think together they are going to solve one of the key things the XRP ledger has been missing for a very long time. And that is a seamless way to actually usher in DeFi. Dollar denominated units are absolutely critical to DeFi. And that is the introduction to institutional DeFi. Dollar denominated units are absolutely critical to DeFi ecosystems. And as we talked about extensively here, RLUSD is going to be the most regulatory compliant instrument for a dollar denominated unit in DeFi. I believe if Ripple can make a push with their custody solution, with XRP as neutral liquidity, and with RLUSD as that regulated stablecoin, they could be in a position to capture a large portion of the market when it comes to onboarding institutions into this new age of institutional DeFi. I believe this is where Ripple's being positioned. I believe all their products are aligning with this end goal. Build products for these institutions that they feel comfortable adopting and use that to usher them into these cryptocurrency ecosystems. Guys, thank you so much for coming. I hope you enjoyed this update. And for now, Mickle out.